Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You know what I miss? I miss the old Locked In intro, man. Franz Ferdinand bumping us in. You know why we had to change it? And I'm looking at all of you that watch via YouTube. You did this. YouTube did this. YouTube made us change the intro music. Because we can only use royalty-free bumpers since we air on YouTube. And for those of you that were not aware that we're on YouTube, if you don't tune in via your radio dial or the KREF app, you can also check in, if it's convenient for you, via YouTube. Just go to your YouTube search engine and punch in KREF Sports. Guess who's going to pop up? Me and Grayson. I will say the amount of people on the text line
that are surprised that I'm black?
Exactly. Like, it's been astonishing to see how many times we've gotten that text over the last week and a half.
It has been hilarious.
That aside, folks, if you want to interact with the show, the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line is 405-651-3439. I would imagine that if we didn't have that YouTube stream, there would be people that would still be blissfully unaware of that reality.
There would be people that think I look somewhat similar to Connor Pasby.
Probably so.
Probably so. Not like a 6'2" black dude.
Hey, listen, we're tracking the whole Jim Knowles conversation today. Obviously, that is paramount as far as OU is concerned for the time being. But we also have other significant news here at the top of the hour, and that is that Grayson Singleton's most recent romantic interest picked him up after he wrecked his car last night. That's a good sign. I'm just saying. She's clearly interested. She's clearly about it.
It's been all right so far. I'm not going to lie to you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I am proceeding cautiously, given some of my dating history, but it is going okay. I will say that.
I don't fault you for that. You do have to proceed cautiously at a certain point.
You do.
Been there. I will say though, I don't know if this is like this is really when I knew with my wife, but I will say when I realized, oh shoot, she's super serious about this, is Thanksgiving weekend 2022. We had been, I don't even know if we were officially dating yet, but we had been going out for 3 weeks, maybe.
Okay. So that's kind of where I am in that this range.
She hit me up the day before Thanksgiving because I was staying local. I had to because Oklahoma played at Texas Tech that weekend. So couldn't go back home to Nebraska and then come back and be ready to, it really restricted my travel.
Yeah. She's
in the military. She had just gotten back from a deployment. All of her family is down in San Antonio. So she was staying local too. And so we were going to spend Black Friday together before I had to ship out to Lubbock. But she was like, hey, let me go to Lubbock with you. I'll just get a hotel room and I'll just chill there for the weekend. I just want to spend time on the road with you. And I was like, so you want to spend the weekend in Lubbock, Texas, just to be able to spend 10 hours in a car with me? See, that's how you know. They do something like that.
That's pretty good. I ain't going to lie to you.
Yeah, no joke. Because I don't know of anyone that would go to Lubbock, Texas unless they absolutely had to. She wanted to. So, again, they're going the extra mile in a very literal sense.
Literally.
That's how you know they're serious.
That's pretty good. 405, Grayson has a face for radio. Damn.
They say that about all of us. Don't take it
personally. I know. Grayson, I imagined you look like Drake. Interesting.
You and Drake could be twins. Fraternal twins, to be clear. Not identical.
Yeah.
Nick says, how does this girl feel about you talking about her on the airwaves, Grayson? Listen, she got to understand that comes with the territory.
That does come with the territory, and that's why I also keep talking in very abstract ways.
Good call. Hasn't name dropped her yet.
Oh, no. We ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna tell you what she look like, how she old she is. I ain't gonna tell you all that. We're gonna keep it very abstract.
Sooner Co. Wetzel says, I'd go to Lubbock, but in my defense, I would go for a concert. That's fair. Which concert?
Which concert?
Sooner Co. Wetzel. Because, like, for instance, if you reincarnated Tom Petty, yeah, I'd go to Lubbock to see him. But if it's just like the Turnpike Troubadours, and I know some of you love the Turnpike Troubadours, I'm sorry, I'm not going to Lubbock to see them.
You don't like the Turnpike Troubadours?
I'm just not a country guy.
Neither am I. Neither am I.
And, like, their music is less country than, like, all-out country music, but still, little too country. Sooner Co. Wetzel says, any red dirt, and I would go see Turnpike. Look at that. He probably sent that text before I even brought up Turnpike. Impressive.
Monster Truck Guy, Grayson, you sound like a white dude who's asking for brown sugar. Completely flip that, and you will get my dating demographics.
Okay. There we go. You got intel, folks. 3-star Lost City Sooner says, step one of heading towards marriage is when you wreck your car and she picks you up. Okay, so let's talk about Jim Knowles. We can circle back to Grayson's dating life, and I imagine we will. If not today, certainly in the future. We'll have to have regular check-ins, all of us together. But Jim Knowles and Penn State is a conversation that's proliferated today. And I'll just say this, I don't claim to be a Penn State insider. Generally, for word with how things are going between a coach and another school, I will rely on the people that do cover that program and are very close to it in a day-to-day capacity. And my former colleagues at Lions 24/7, I believe that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? I think that's the Penn State side on 24/7. Regardless, the guys that cover Penn State for 24/7 Sports are not terribly optimistic right now that anything happens between Jim Knowles and Penn State. So that's a good sign. Those guys are typically pretty on the money. Sean Fitz, Tyler Calvaruso, that whole crew, really good reporters. And they have a good pulse on Penn State. So you want to take it from some of the people that are closest to that whole deal. It doesn't seem – now, obviously, they acknowledged, yeah, Penn State would love to hire Jim Knowles, but it just doesn't really seem like that's happening. You got Ohio State trying to retain him. You got Oklahoma trying to pull a stunner and land him.
Let me ask you this, Parker. If we eliminated the factor that seems to be pulling this in Oklahoma's direction, which is a significant other, if we eliminated that, what do you think the odds are, A, that he leaves Ohio State? I know there's a lot of rumors that he doesn't like Ryan Day. And B, if he did leave Ohio State, he would come to Oklahoma, if we took out the fiancé.
If you took out the fiancé, I bet you he takes the Penn State job.
And I would tend to agree with you.
Because, again, from what I understand with the situation at Ohio State and some of the animus that exists between Knowles, reportedly exists, allegedly exists between Knowles and some of the other Ohio State defensive staffers, it kind of feels like this was the end of the road for him at Ohio State one way or another. But absent the fiancé, he's probably going back home to Pennsylvania, right?
You would think.
So, in a vacuum, if you just isolate Jim Knowles and take relationships outside of football out of the picture, then he'd probably choose Penn State over Oklahoma. But what do we say about girlfriends? And it's applicable to fiancés as well, and certainly wives. Undefeated. Girlfriends are undefeated. Fiancés are hopefully undefeated, because if they are, then you're going to have one heck of a splash hire as your next defensive coordinator if you're an Oklahoma football fan.
If girlfriends and fiancés are undefeated, what does that make wives?
Also undefeated.
A different level of undefeated, probably.
Well, unless you're Giselle.
You know, that joke would have been great on the Tom Brady roast.
Did they not? They had to have come up with plenty of Giselle jokes.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Did you not watch it?
I watched it after the fact.
Okay, good.
Parts of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, watch the whole thing.
I don't have the patience for that.
No, you're missing out.
Okay.
Watch the whole thing.
Okay. I'll go watch the whole thing. Big Rich in OKC says, you guys have seen a picture of his fiancée, right? If I were him, I'd come here to work for free.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that to me the other day. They were like, Yeah, Jim Knowles ain't finding another girl like that. So, I don't know. Have I seen a picture of her? I don't know that I have. But everybody that has been like, yep, can understand why. Can definitely understand why. Tyler from Ada says, my money is on OU getting stuffed in a locker by Penn State. When was the last time that happened? Has Penn State stuffed OU in a locker, whether on the recruiting trail or elsewhere in recent memory? There have been precious few OU Penn State recruiting battles, to my recollection. Nigel Smith was one. Nigel Smith really liked Penn State, but he picked Oklahoma. GB from the 918 adds, okay, you all have it wrong. Knowles has coached in the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10. Wants to coach in the SEC now. That's it in a nutshell. I hardly think that's a major factor in the calculus for Jim Knowles. I mean, you could be right, but do you think college football coaches pay attention to do you think the conference matters to them that much?
I mean, especially like what GB is saying, where he's basically just trying to check off little boxes, trying to make his way around all the conferences. No, I don't. I don't think that at all.
Jeremy from Memphis points out Phil Picciotti. Yeah, that's right. Phil Picciotti was from Pennsylvania. OU went into Pennsylvania and beat out Penn State for Phil Picciotti.
How did Phil Picciotti get on their radar?
OU's radar?
Yes.
He had really freaking good film.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. I mean, he had offers all across the country. I believe his Final Four, if I am not mistaken, was Michigan, Nebraska, Auburn, and OU.
Oh,
Penn
so
State
this was a
wasn't
dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big time. Big time. You watch his high school tape, you're like, yep, that'll play. And he did it both ways, too. He did it on both sides of the ball. He was completely dominant in Pennsylvania, and then obviously went down to IMG Academy to spend his last year of high school. A 405 listener says, are you allowed to have stuffed in a locker references without Steely? It would be better if Steely were here to handle the stuffed in a locker references, no doubt. But the text line used the phrase stuffed in a locker. I can't even remember who that texter was. Oh, Tyler from Ada, that's right. Tyler used that phrase. I didn't. So, yes, we reserve the right to use the phrase stuffed in a locker if it's first cited by the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Are we allowed to use stuffed in a locker as it pertains to anything going on with Penn State?
You went there. Christy with a good pull and a pretty recent one. Can't believe I spaced on this one. OU lost Max Granville to Penn State. That's right. I think I forget about Max Granville because he enrolled at Penn State like a month later. He reclassified very, very late because he was class of 2025, but committed to Penn State over OU. Like fresh off his OV to OU, committed to Penn State like 48 hours later. And he enrolled in August. So that was a very quick turnaround. That was like 2 months. And otherwise he was going to play his senior year of high school at Fort Bend Christian Academy down in Houston. Instead, he got an early jump, redshirted at Penn State. He'll be in the mix. He'll be in the rotation. And for an edge rusher like Max, who was a really, really good edge rusher, you can understand the business aspect of choosing Penn State over Oklahoma.
Postal Sooner, where did Phil Picciotti end up going?
He signed with UCF. So he and Lewis Carter both wound up at UCF after the end of the road came for them at Oklahoma. Micah Parsons, was OU that involved with Micah Parsons? See, this I'm legitimately asking because that precedes my time covering OU recruiting. So I can recall that OU was involved with Micah Parsons. I can't recall to what extent they were involved. But good point, if so. Nick says, Cliff Notes version of this topic, this is a fiancé, not a girlfriend. There is more to lose by not choosing Oklahoma. Just go ahead and sign on the dotted line, Jim Knowles.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You're not going to get an argument from me on that one.
OU Architect also said, didn't OU and Penn State have a battle for Micah Parsons? Okay, so that must have been an OU Penn State battle then. And again, one that Penn State won.
Tattoo Baker, Peyton Bowen and Billy Bowman came down to a girlfriend. Did Peyton Bowen?
That was, oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was like instrumental.
Okay.
In the Peyton Bowen
I
recruitment.
knew about Billy Bowman.
Yep. because Billy Bowman was obviously at the time dating Jada Coleman, who had just enrolled at Oklahoma to play softball.
Right.
They're engaged now. Things did not work out with Peyton Bowen and his girlfriend at the time, but that truly was instrumental. Absent the girlfriend factor, I'm not sure if Peyton Bowen comes to Oklahoma in the first place. He might, but it's a lot less of a sure thing. He had a girlfriend that at the time was committed to play soccer at OU, and then Peyton Bowen signed with OU, and then like a month later they fired the soccer coach, and so she transferred to SMU or asked out of her at NLI or something like that. So she never even went to classes at Oklahoma.
Wow,
I don't think.
interesting.
He's not for more than a semester.
How different? Different would the Oklahoma secondary look without them?
Well, we might be seriously asking the question: is there any world in which Jim Knowles can bring Caleb Downs with him to Oklahoma?
I'll do you one.
Wasn't here.
I'll do you one better. Denver Harris may have been a necessity.
Denver Harris?
That we talked about last week.
Oh yeah, but he plays corner though, so that.
Well, I mean, if you kick the can down the road, Peyton Bowen doesn't come. Guess who else doesn't come either?
Oh, I see. Okay, yep, tracking, and that's 100% true. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was never one or the other. It was always both or neither.
Mm-hmm.
And you got them both. Thankfully enough for the Sooners and their fans. Okay, let's hit an opening timeout here. We'll come back. We'll keep talking OU football, recruiting, and the Jim Knowles saga with all of you here on Locked In. The Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line is 405-651-3439. Keep filling it up. We'll be right back.
Hornsdown Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the yums because Spike was safe, Hornsdown Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Hornsdown celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Streak, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
What's up, Ref Army? It's Dusty Dvorak, and I'm back. I'm excited to be back with the Ref and cannot wait to help bring the home of Sooner fans the best Sooner coverage. Catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday during the 10 a.m. hour of The Plank Show as I cut it up with Plank and Josh about everything in the world of Sooner and college football. That's every Tuesday and Wednesday on The Plank Show, and there's only one place to hear it. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Download the KRF app today to listen from anywhere.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money, they're in the business of taking your money. Hi, this is Will Gosney with Yala Gosney Attorneys at Law. Have you ever had an insurance claim and thought, wow, I really am in good hands, or these folks truly are treating me like a neighbor? Well, that's where we can help. We'll deal with the stress, we'll get you back to your normal life. So save our number in your phone, and if you're ever hurt in a wreck, call or text us at 405-800-8080. It's 405-800-8080.
That twinge in your knee isn't going to wait until Monday, and neither do we. At Orthostat, we've expanded, so you get better hours, better facilities, and the same great care. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Whether it's sprains, strains, fractures, or joint pain, from knuckles to knees and every joint in between, our same-day, affordable care gets you back to life faster. Visit OuchOrthostat.com to learn more.
Come see Bob Hurley RV at the Oklahoma RV Showdown at the Oklahoma Fairgrounds in the Centennial Building from January 23rd through the 26th. Bob Hurley RV will have the largest selection of RVs at the show, all with exclusive show pricing. Whether you're looking for a travel trailer, motorhome, or fifth wheel, we've got something for everyone. Plus, meet the manufacturers on site and get financing right at the event. Visit Bob Hurley RV at the Oklahoma RV Showdown only at the Oklahoma Fairgrounds. See you there January 23rd through the 26th in the Centennial Building.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post 9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing.
To get the help you need.
To find peace.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
Outside of Trey Dissident's hatred for Dylan Gabriel, I don't know if we have ever had a listener who hates a player quite like Duggan Norman hates Phil Picciotti.
Yeah, that was wild.
Dude, I can't even tell you how many times over the years we have mentioned Phil Picciotti's name, not even to like hype him up, but just made mention of him for one reason or another, and here comes Duggan Norman with an anti-Phil Picciotti text. That happened. All we said about Phil Picciotti last segment was that he signed with UCF, and he was really good in high school, which he was, very coveted across the nation. Here comes Duggan Norman hitting the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Please stop with any mention of Phil Picciotti. Despite whatever offers you say he had, he wasn't even first team at IMG Academy. His parents could afford the tuition at IMG, but he didn't play there except for the punt team. He never played a snap for OU. Yeah, he never played a snap for OU because he tore his ACL twice, Doug. That's the reason Phil Picciotti never played at Oklahoma.
And I'm not going to lie. If you make the team at IMG, you're probably doing something right. They're not just going to have scrubs.
Yes, correct.
On IMG.
IMG is the best high school football program in the country.
Yeah.
They recruit dudes and they do recruit dudes specifically because they're some of the best football players in the country. So pardon me if I am not willing to regard a guy as garbage because he wasn't first team on the best high school football program in the country that literally pulls talent from all over the United States. I mean, Picciotti himself is from Pennsylvania. How far is that from Lake Bradenton, Florida? A long freaking way.
I don't think he's going there if he's not good at if he can't play.
Correct. And moreover, if you're not really good at the sport of football and there's not a ton of belief that you can be an exceptional player at the P4 level, if you have 2 straight ACL tears and you get processed by your former institution, you're not landing on scholarship at another P4 school, Grayson. Never played a snap, and you had 2 straight debilitating knee injuries? Yeah, most guys like that are going JUCO because they don't have options.
Yeah.
Phil Picciotti could have signed with UCF or UNC. He had both of those programs after him, and after him hard. He took official visits both places. He chose UCF. I hope it works out for him. Nobody should have to go through what he went through at Oklahoma physically. You don't wish that upon anybody. 2 ACL tears in a row. You're right. He never saw the field for more than, a couple weeks at a time. He very briefly returned to action in spring practice in 2024 before he got injured again. Duggan Norman now followed up and says, modern day in Santa Ana, California is and has been the best football program in the nation, not IMG Academy.
Doug, you're missing the point, homie.
Okay, I mean, you're welcome to that opinion, Doug. I won't try to take it away from you. Modern day is a powerhouse. No doubt about it.
A texter in the 918. That's hilarious. I was just thinking about Doug predicting Picciotti wouldn't work out.
Krabby Sooner says, how come we ain't heard about his knees? First time ever hearing this. Really? I thought that was pretty commonly known. I mean, you saw Picciotti, for the vast majority of his time at Oklahoma, he was on the sidelines wearing his jersey in nothing more. And he had a big old knee brace on. and he was on crutches. JT and Tulsa also went and did the statistical research. Picciotti led IMG linebackers and tackles his senior year with 63. Doug, your point's falling apart, my man.
Come on, Doug. We need the counterpoint.
Falling apart here.
We need the
By
counterpoint, man.
By the way, quick aside. This was hilarious because this perfectly sums up why you could not pay me to care about the NBA.
Oh, no.
I was scrolling through my Twitter feed in the break. The big news of the day in the NBA is that the league plans to change the shape of their shot clock to a circle next season. That's exactly the look that I expected you would give me.
NBA, man. I love you. I watch you every night. I wanted to be in the league before I realized that I just couldn't. That's why I talk about you for a living. Do better, man. Why? That's all I got.
Okay, back to the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. A 405 listener points out, relevant to our conversation from last segment. Doesn't Ethan O'Connor's girlfriend attend OU? If so, girlfriends are not undefeated. Yes, that was a thing. That was a thing, and all the more reason why everybody in the OU circle thought they were getting Ethan O'Connor. So how do we want to amend that statement? Girlfriends are undefeated and won? Well, I guess you're not undefeated at that point.
Right. Because Ethan ended up going where? Miami. I guess sometimes you got to do what's best for your career and put the girlfriend on hold.
He got paid a lot of money to go to Miami.
He did.
I don't imagine that traveling to see one another on a pretty consistent basis is going to be much of an issue, given how much he bankrolled by committing to Miami.
No, he's going to be flying her out. That's okay.
And flying out to South Beach. I mean, hey, might as well, man. That if you can get it, it's a pretty good gig to have. Playing football for 7 figures down there in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
A 918 listener says, finally something Parker and I agree upon. NBA, thumbs down emoji. Sooner Studi added, how can that be the big NBA news when SGA scored his career high last night of 54?
I'm going to say SGA did drop 50.
I did see that, yeah.
So you really, again, so you're on the bus of screw the NBA.
I just don't care about it.
Here's what I've never, and we can make this very short. I tried the whole college basketball is better than the NBA thing. I really did. But in terms of an enjoyability impact standpoint, the NBA is better basketball for the most part. Unless if you're watching the Wizards every night, that's a whole different story. But you look at colleges, the best college basketball teams are shooting 30% from three. The shot making's better. That's just how I land. Mm-hmm. Where I land. Feel free to disagree.
Hey, pivoting back to recruiting here, because recruiting is the crux of the show here on Locked In. Have you had a chance to really dig into Oklahoma's 2026 recruiting board yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Once we get through tournament season.
They got a big junior day coming up this weekend. Going to have a lot of visitors on campus Saturday. And this is where the program starts to make moves. And it's not necessarily the case that you should expect that Oklahoma starts to land commitments at this junior day or coming out of this junior day. I will say that happened last year around this time. It was the second junior day that Oklahoma had, first weekend of February, that they did secure a commitment from Ryan Foje, which was big news at the time and really out of nowhere. So that was some early reason to feel confident about the 2025 class at Oklahoma, which ultimately, that 2025 class ended up being good, not great. I would say great in terms of the median level of talent within that class, the average level of talent, but only good in terms of numbers. They didn't need to take a super heavy class. They filled the gaps where they could with transfers. But here in 2026, Oklahoma already has 3 commits. Jaden O'Neal, the quarterback, Ryder Mix, the tight end, and Will Conroy, the offensive lineman from the state of Ohio. I need to confirm whether or not Conroy is going to be at Oklahoma this weekend. I know for a fact Jaden O'Neal and Ryder Mix are. The Oklahoma staff was at Ryder Mix's high school yesterday, and they were rolling deep at Frisco Lone Star. You had Jay Valai there, Ben Arbuckle, Brent Venables, J.P. Lossman, Joe John Finley, and Emmett Jones. So 6 coaches.
Man.
Yeah, 6 of the 11 that are traveling were at Frisco Lone Star yesterday. And that wasn't the only stop they made, obviously. Biedenbow and Arbuckle were down at Mesquite Horn. They stopped by Euless Trinity as well. But they spent a lot of time at Frisco Lone Star, and understandably so, because Frisco Lone Star has 3 total targets, one of whom is already committed. So 1 commit, 2 targets. Not only do you have Ryder Mix, the tight end commit, but you have Davian Gross, the superstar wide receiver / running back. He plays mostly running back at Lone Star. He's going to play wide receiver in high school. Top 100 player in the nation. OU's in a really, really good spot with him. They're going to have to do battle with SMU, Texas A&M, Penn State, there we go, and a few others. But I really, really like where OU stands with Davian Gross right now. And then they have a 4-star safety by the name of Jordan Deck. He picked up an OU offer at camp last June, and he's high on the Sooners as well. So, theoretically, Lone Star could be this year's Carl Albert in terms of the amount of talent that OU can pull from that program if they can close the deal with Davian Gross. I'm not really sure right now how hard they're pressing with Jordan Deck. Again, he has the offer. If OU did push, I think they'd get him. But I don't really know how hard they're trying as of right now. Brandon Hall has options, and for example, a listener in the 405 just brought up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line a question, and that question is, has OU ever gotten a recruit from Mesquite Horn? There's a kid at Mesquite Horn right now that's committed elsewhere in the 2026 class, but that Oklahoma has been working for quite a while to flip, and that is 4-star safety Markel Ford. So that ties in nicely to the pursuit of Deck, because right now, Brandon Hall, he shouldn't need to recruit more than 2 safeties in the 2026 class. The only guy that's set to graduate, right, is Robert Spears Jennings. And so, theoretically, you have 1 guy to replace, and you probably always want to recruit 1 more than you need just to account for the possibility of a transfer departure or 2.
Or injury.
So this seems to me like another 2 safety class, which is what Oklahoma had last year. They got both from the state of Arkansas, Amarian Robinson and Marcus Wimberly. And if Oklahoma can turn the tide with Markel Ford, and there's a lot of confidence on the Oklahoma side that they can turn the tide with Markel Ford, then at that point, you only have 1 spot remaining at safety. And so do you want to give that to Jordan Deck, or might there be some more coveted options elsewhere, more not only coveted but realistic options to fill out your safety room in the 2026 class? So I understand the patient approach, if you will, with Jordan Deck at Lone Star. But really, really good spot with Davian Gross. They're going to get Ryder Mix back on campus this weekend, and perhaps most importantly, they'll get Jaden O'Neal back on campus. And you want your quarterback to be around as much as possible throughout the year. Anytime you get a guy committed early like that, you want him to spend as much time as possible around other uncommitted dudes, putting in the good word for the University of Oklahoma. So, and good pull, by the way. I was just about to bring this up. Somebody beat me to it. A 580 listener did point out that there has been a relatively recent commit from Mesquite Horn that landed at Oklahoma. You got to go back to the class of 2017. Chris Robeson. Some of y'all don't even remember Chris Robeson, and that's understandable. He only spent a year at Oklahoma. I believe he got dismissed from the program, if I'm not mistaken. Couldn't tell you why. I was in college at the time. But he ended up going to Florida Atlantic. And I believe played for Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic there. Was Lane Kiffin's starting quarterback. And did pretty well for himself down at FAU. David from Norman asks, wouldn't you love to have Jim Knowles on board by Junior Day as well? Wouldn't that be a nice little surprise for all the Junior Day visitors, especially the defensive guys, if all of a sudden your brand new defensive coordinator walks into the building?
And the defensive coordinator that just won the Natty.
Yep. That'd be nice. That'd be real nice. Greg and Muskogee asked how many linebackers are in the top 100 and how many are Oklahoma in on. Greg, that's a question for about 3-4 weeks from now. Because the linebacker board right now, I promise you, is going to be a little bit different when Jim Knowles gets to town. Because he'll have thoughts, he'll have opinions. The presumption is that if he were hired as a defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, he would also be given the title of linebackers coach. Now, he would have a right-hand man, and that right-hand man would be James Skalski, who's entering his third season as a graduate assistant with the program. And frankly, there are a lot of responsibilities on the practice field that Knowles could pass along to Skalski. He could play a much larger role with the development of those linebackers on the practice field than he has these past couple years. But Knowles, at least by title, would more than likely be linebackers coach, because if he's not, then somehow you got to make room for another on-field coach, and you got to get rid of somebody. And I don't know if there's anybody on this staff right now that Oklahoma really wants to get rid of. I know who the fan base wants to get rid of. Heck, there are probably multiple guys that fit that description.
I think there's just one that we really want to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. Keep it coming on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439. We'll dig a little bit more into the Junior Day coming up this weekend on the other side, and we'll continue fielding your texts. You're listening to Locked In. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton here with you on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Hornsdown apple pie liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the yums because Spike was safe, Hornsdown apple pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Hornsdown celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Streak, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
15. In Chicago, March 28th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
Ever wonder why someone would wake up at the crack of dawn just for a chance at the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Life can be complicated, but saving money shouldn't be. At OU Federal Credit Union, they make saving simple and stress-free. The best part? They have no hidden fees. Joining OUFCU means you're in control of your financial future. Whether it's a rainy day fund or saving for that dream vacation, they've got you covered. Visit OUFCU.com or come by one of their branches today. OU Federal Credit Union, where savings is simple and dreams come true. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by the NCUA.
February 1st at the Young Family Athletic Center, an unforgettable evening of music, dancing, laughter, and magic. That's right, the Daddy-Daughter Dance is back and it's bigger than ever with a DJ, refreshments, photo opportunities, and dancing. Also new, a 2 p.m. sensory-friendly dance as well as a 4:30 and 7 p.m. event. Get your tickets at cityofnorman.thundertix.com and create memories that will last a lifetime. Tickets are selling fast, so don't miss this enchanting experience with your princess.
Hey, Sooner fans, we've got you covered. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
No, we don't get a break.
This is the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and it's the perfect time to build your dream home with K&B Homes. Whether you're in the OKC Metro or beyond, they offer flat fee pricing with no hidden surprises. Bring them your game plan or choose one from the K&B playbook. They will bring your dream home to life with custom woodwork and your personal touches. Make the winning call today with K&B Homes. Call them today at 405-808-9005 or visit knbhomesllc.com to kick off your project.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And the Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Scandal at the Ref, folks. Breaking news. We have discovered that the Steel Man is not actually on vacation. He's not actually on vacation. He's streaming on Twitch. Not right this second. He will be in 4 minutes. Per the Twitter feed of one Mike Steely, at Steely on Sports, 8 minutes ago. Red alarm emoji. Going live at 2:45. Red alarm emoji. Giveaways. 2 5,000 V-Bucks cards. 3 2,800 cards. NBA shootout wheel. New scenes and emotes. Steely's not on vacation, folks. This is all a masquerade.
You know what the funniest thing about that whole thing was, Parker?
What's that?
He knows what emotes and V-Bucks are, but has no conception of Reddit.
I mean, do you spend time on Reddit?
No, but I know what it is.
I know what it is, too. The people who spend time on Reddit, and I'm sorry if you're one of those people, I've never met a normal human that is a regular Reddit user.
Agreed.
There's probably something to be said for people that will recreationally use Reddit from time to time. But the hardcore Reddit folks, man, that's like a different world to me.
Oh, yeah. There are some people that, sometimes you just leave them to them. I can't vibe with all of y'all, but if you're consistently on Reddit, nah.
Bobby and BA says, Parker, I have been on a call for work. Did you address my question? Were you surprised to see DeMarco Murray at C4? Oh, boy. So, no, we have not addressed this question yet, Bobby and BA. So let's dive into this. I'm sure many of you saw on Twitter that DeMarco Murray was down at C4 in southern Oklahoma yesterday. And immediately the knee-jerk reaction that some of you may have had, is, well, aren't Oklahoma and C4 not on the greatest of terms? And this goes all the way back to May 2023. The Zadavian Sims recruitment. To bring you guys up to speed with a very surface-level recollection of what happened, Zadavian Sims was a 4-star defensive lineman out of Durant, Oklahoma. His recruitment was orchestrated and largely run through the C4 Sports Performance Group. I know the guy who runs it. His name's Sean Cooper. Phenomenal human being. Great dude. Been a friend of mine for a long time. He runs an organization down in Meade, Oklahoma called C4. They train some of the top athletes in the region. Zadavian Sims told the Oklahoma staff that he was committing to them on May 20th, 2023. Told them over and over, I'm committing to Oklahoma. You got nothing to worry about. All the while, there's a lot of noise about Oregon. Well, Oregon's going to land Zadavian Sims. What's all this Oregon buzz? And he had been to Oregon twice in the month and a half prior to committing. Decision day rolls around. He commits to Oregon. That resulted in a lot of hurt feelings on the Oklahoma side of things because not only was Todd Bates blindsided by the whole Zadavian Sims fiasco, because he thought he was getting the kid's commitment, but also all of that was going down as Todd Bates was grieving the very recent loss of his father. So he had actually, like, while he's planning funeral arrangements, as I understand it, for his dad, he's also making trips down to Durant, made a couple trips down there because it was in the middle of a contact period, I believe, at the time, and continually being told that, yeah, I'm coming to Oklahoma, got nothing to worry about. And so just that alone, the subterfuge that was involved in that recruitment and leaving Oklahoma in the dark as to the kid's plans to commit somewhere else on decision day, combined with the fact that it was Bates himself that was getting two-timed while he was going through some difficult personal stuff, there were a lot of hurt feelings on the Oklahoma side. A lot of hurt feelings. And Oklahoma did not engage with any C4 players for quite a while thereafter. They had one C4 player on the roster at Oklahoma in Eric McCarty, who obviously has since moved on. But time heals all wounds. And ultimately, if you want to place an emphasis on recruiting the state of Oklahoma, on keeping the top talent in the state home, then you have to patch things up with folks like that, because C4 really does have a stranglehold on Southern Oklahoma. Coop does great work. His guys are relentless, and they're some of the most dominant football players in that half of the state. Southeast Oklahoma, they have some very talented dudes down there in the 26 and 27 classes. And so, look, there were apologies issued. There were admissions made about fault in the matter, and we're almost 2 years clear of it. Up until this point, Oklahoma ever since has not really seriously recruited any of C4's student athletes or any of the guys that are affiliated with C4, but I think the time is coming where they're going to start to do that again.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Has it burned Oklahoma, or has it hurt them that they haven't gone after these guys? And what I mean by that is there a player that they reasonably could have gotten that they're just like, nope, we're not going to do it because you're associated with C4? Or has there been a guy that, again, they could have gone after and they end up playing against him, and that dude burns them? Has that happened since that point?
Not really. So
Okay.
There's a kid right now in the 2026 class that's associated with C4 down in Durant. His name is Colton Yarbrough. He's a 4-star edge rusher who's committed to Arkansas.
Okay.
He never even received an OU offer. I understand why, because it's very clear when you watch the tape on Colton Yarbrough that it is an enormous gamble in taking him, because he looks like $1 million, man. And he's looked like $1 million. I met that kid when he was 12 years old. He's always looked like $1 million. He's 6'5", muscled up, athletic frame, looks great. But then when you watch the tape, it's not dominant. It's not the dominant tape that you would expect from a guy that has that kind of an impressive physique. And so Arkansas took the gamble. They decided, yeah, let's go all in. We can develop Colton Yarbrough. We're going to get him on board. They pressed hard for him. They got his commitment. Oklahoma never even offered Colton Yarbrough. And at no point have they really demonstrated a ton of interest in him. So I think that's the one guy, and we fielded questions about Yarbrough for quite a while on Locked In, back when it was me and Machine Gun McComas doing the show, about, well, why hasn't OU all offered Colton Yarbrough? Well, if you see the tape, I think you understand why. It's very clear that he's a project. There's a lot of risk that comes associated with that take, and it makes sense for a school like Arkansas that is going to be a little bit more, or is going to be willing to take a little bit more risk because of where they're at as a program, and especially where they're at as a staff right now, being in prove-it mode for really the last 2 years, and certainly moving forward. But for Oklahoma, with the success that they've had recently, I know the last couple of years have been a struggle, but they're still Oklahoma. They're still one of the top brands in college football, and Miguel Chavis has demonstrated that he can go out of state, sometimes far out of state, and land really, really talented edge talent. That was kind of redundant. really, really good edge talent, really, really talented edge players. Like going to Minnesota a couple years ago for Wyatt Gilmore. It doesn't really feel like Oklahoma had the understanding that they needed to offer Colton Yarbrough, that there were going to be comparable options and safer bets elsewhere. With the C4 talk, says a listener in the 580, I feel like now is the perfect time to ask you to put my name down as Kyle in Durant, as we have a Kyle in Broken Bow as well as a Kyle in Sallisaw in the Rest Army.
That is already done.
Done and done. Krabby Sooner says, nah, forget that boy. That's low. They're not forgetting him. Again, like, boy, this was a total debacle on the text line and on the show at the time, because I think we were 4 months into Locked In at that point. We've been doing the show together. No. Hang on. We've been doing it for longer than that. But the text line was ablaze when Zadavian Sims committed to Oregon over Oklahoma, because everybody, I think, understood that there had been some deception there. And for a guy like Coop and for an organization like C4, you're in between a rock and a hard place with things like that, where you have to properly strike the balance between preserving the kid's moment, if that's what he wants, and that's what Zadavian Sims wanted, versus just being straight with the college coaches. And, I mean, there were people throughout the whole 2020, the whole calendar year 2023 that would continue to bring it up on the text line. Ha! Sean Cooper and C4, what a bunch of morons. How could they do that to Oklahoma?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I ask a cynical question here?
Yeah.
Can we as grown people not let 18 and 17-year-olds dictate our moods?
That'd be great, Grayson, but here's the thing. The reason we have a show is because, that's not possible for some people.
This is true, but, 18 and 17-year-olds, their brains are so, I mean, you can, they're so influencing, easy.
Yeah.
And
here's a 580 listener popping in right now saying, I live in Durant and love Coop. Thanks for sharing about his character, Parker. Great guy and huge impact in the community here. And that's 100% true. And obviously, I was just texting back and forth with Coop last night. We stay in touch pretty regularly. I'm often down there at his training facility checking out some of his guys. And there was a couple months where in the immediate aftermath of that, where there was a lot of animosity, a lot of tension, a lot of very heightened emotions. But, he eventually came around to it like, hey, look, yeah, I should have probably been honest with Oklahoma, transparent with Oklahoma, regardless of what that meant for Zadavian. Should have just been honest with him, especially with what Coach Bates was going through. Like, you make mistakes, you learn from them, and you don't repeat them. And that's all anybody can ask. And that's the reason why here we are in January 2025, and you see DeMarco Murray down there. And I think Brandon Hall was down there pretty recently. And they're taking a look at potentially making a run at Rylan Morris, who's a very talented running back from Honey Grove, Texas, that works out with C4 and is currently committed to Baylor, but that Oklahoma has had an eye on. So, yeah, and a good point by a 918 listener. I believe the Sims situation was exacerbated by the fact we'd also lost another commit shortly before Oregon swept him up. Yeah, that was kind of a juncture at which Oklahoma was taking some haymakers on the recruiting trail. But adults learn, adults grow, adults apologize, adults move on, and everybody involved with that situation, both from the Durant C4 side and from the Oklahoma side, acted like an adult about it all.
And that's all you can ask.
Exactly. 4 or 5 listeners said, Grayson is a casual, confirmed. Of course, as a fan of an SEC program, we're going to be emotional about a recruiting loss. Go back to rooting for Okie like LeBum fanboy.
Oh, man, that's good. That's good.
Another 580 listener says, we in Durant caught strays for months. Yeah, it reflected very poorly on the entire city of Durant in the eyes of many Sooner fans.
Did it actually?
But, yes, we're long past that. Oh, here we go. Brian in Bixby was apparently flipping back and forth, and he said Gout Boy during the last commercial stated that Jim Knowles won't improve OU's win total by a single game. LOL. We got like 45 seconds till we got to wrap up, so I don't have nearly as much time as I would like to have to respond to that statement. But in what world does bringing in the number 1 defensive coordinator in college football not improve your win total by at least one game? At least one game. I don't think anybody's sitting here and saying, Yeah, Oklahoma plus Jim Knowles equals CFP berth in 2025. But they're not going 6-7 again.
You would think.
Knock on wood. They're not going 6-7 again. That feels very unrealistic based on how many things had to go wrong this past year just for Oklahoma to get to 6-7 in the first place. All right, that's it for today here on Locked In. Don't go anywhere, though. Tyler and Ted have the rush. 3 more hours of OU Sports Talk coming up on the other side. Grayson and I will see you once again at noon tomorrow. Y'all take it easy, but stay here on the Ref Sports Radio Network.